What is up, everyone? My name will be Josh. This is StrainCentral, and today we are going to be doing an unboxing on some Plain Jane CBD. So Plain Jane has basically been my main CBD source for the last few weeks. This has been most of what I've been smoking. There's a bunch of different stuff in here that we're actually going to get into and talk about. So all of their boxes come with a certificate of authenticity. You can actually scan this. You can see test results of a lot of the products that you're actually consuming, and it's going to verify that this is true CBD. This is truly hemp that they grew. You can see lab tests and everything with that QR code. But like I said, the first thing we're getting into is some of this flower, because I'm going to grind this up and actually take myself a hit. So they sent over some acid rock, which is testing at 14.56% CBD and less than 1% THC. So right off the bat, it's got this like very, very earthy smell to it, as most hemp does. It smells a little bit almost sour with this one. There's like a slight sourness to the overwhelming earthiness. And as you're seeing on the screen, I did actually take some close-ups, some macros of this. It smells really good. I find with a lot of CBD flower, I get the exact same taste, the exact same flavor, which is essentially like an earthy cherry. Like most CBD tends to have that exact flavor profile. So Plain Jane actually does have a pretty wide array of different strains they're offering. I think when I went on the website, I saw over 20 CBD strains that are testing kind of across the board at different THC or CBD ranges. But like I said, this stuff's testing at almost 14%, so let's actually get a bowl. I definitely hope you guys are smoking along, dabbing along, vaping along, getting those cannabinoids nice and deep into your lungs, because these are going to be deep into mine. Actually, my first hit of the day. So cheers, friends. Ripping out of the ginormous everything for 420 tube today. There was either a beard hair or a cat hair that was on the edge of that bowl. I think I pulled it out, but I might have gotten some hair terps there. Nonetheless, it's very smooth, tastes super good. I don't get that immediate cherry taste, which is like huge for me in CBD. There really is like a slight sour influence. There is almost like a heavy beta-caryophyllene kind of spice to it, and then really, really, really earthy. But I just love the effects of CBD flower. They're very calming. If you don't have a high THC tolerance, you do feel a slight euphoric effect. You do feel almost kind of what you feel when you go smoke a cigarette, like a slight head high, a slight head buzz that lasts for a little bit. And then it just turns into like an overall calm body relaxation. So I really enjoy CBD. I love the effects of CBD. I don't need to be getting like super high every time I take a hit and be like blasted throughout the day all the time. So being able to rip some CBD and just be calm, still be functional, still be, you know, fully cognitively there is really enjoyable. So CBD flower was the first thing I covered in this box. There's a lot more that we actually have to get into. The next few things are, I feel like a fucking poker card dealer. Which card am I gonna rip you off with, because I'm a casino dealer and I'm gonna take all your money? They sent over a bunch. I'm just fucking throwing shit. This is ridiculous because I'm not even high. This is just peak sober Josh. Peak off one CBD rip Josh. We got CBD pre-rolls. So they sent over 3 different flavors. They sent over menthol. This is the full flavor hemp, and then this is just a hemp roll. So I find personally these 2 boxes, the normal just straight up like hemp rolls, and then the menthol hemp rolls, really good for subtle smoking. You can go out and hit one of these in public. It's not going to smell immediately like weed. People aren't going to be like, is he smoking some kind of weed? The full flavor rolls, they do smell quite a bit like hemp or like weed. If you're in an illegal state smoking one of these, you're not going to get caught. It's legal to smoke one of these. People might question it though, is all I'm saying. So with the full flavor, they are quite a bit smellier than these 2. These 2 are testing at, I think all these are 8% CBD. So they're a little bit more subtle of a CBD hit, and they have about 72 milligrams of CBD in each cigarette. I found these super helpful for stopping smoking. So they look literally exactly like a normal cigarette. Like when you go to light one of these up, no one's really going to question that you're not smoking a Newport or something like that, especially with these. Well, I guess Newports technically do have the brown tips, but there are cigarette brands. I think Camel has all white cigarettes, so they look a lot more subtle than a lot of these CBD joints that are rolled in like raw cones. You could smoke one of these in public, and I don't think you're going to get much of a weird look. Well, you might get a little bit of a weird look because people are like weird to people who smoke cigarettes nowadays. Like, we know the dangers of cigarettes, and people still smoke them, myself included. So when you're out in public and smoking a cigarette, like, people do judge you a little bit. So you might actually get less judgment if you do get a little bit of a weedy smell from it. They may be like, oh, he's just smoking, hemp. He's smoking weed. I literally feel like society in legal states judges weed consumption less than they judge cigarette consumption. I know it's not like that across the entire U.S. Like, some places in the U.S. it's still super taboo, but in like Colorado, Washington, Oregon, you probably are going to be judged more smoking a cigarette than you are for smoking weed. Nonetheless, these are really good for stopping smoking cigarettes, stopping nicotine consumption. A lot of nicotine consumption, a lot of cigarette smokers, we smoke because of the oral fixation. We just like to, have something in our mouth. Jokes incoming, I know. But a lot of it is oral fixation. So when you break the cycle of smoking cigarettes, you can quit cold turkey. You're still going to have that oral fixation though. So having something to fulfill that, still having the act of smoking, the slight head rush from CBD, I personally, as someone who smokes cigarettes and am trying to stop, find these kind of helpful to quit that process. Like, I'm smoking significantly less cigarettes using these than not having these as a substitute. I think the last thing I want to cover about these is that there's 20 of them in each pack. So I believe that's the same as a cigarette pack. Why do I not know that? Let's see, there's 3 by 7. Google United States cigarette pack quantity. At least 20. Okay, so there is 20 cigarettes in a normal pack of cigarettes. There's 20 in the normal, like, hemp roll plain Jane. So this is basically an exact substitute for a normal cigarette. So thank you for sending these over, plain Jane, as I'm trying to break that addiction cycle of nicotine. It's awful. Okay, so the next thing they sent over is something that I'm going to test as well. It is some Shatter. So actually, wait, this is not the Shatter. This is the Shatter. So this is some plain Jane full spectrum straw nana Shatter. And then the other one they sent over is some crumble. So it's some isolate, some CBD crumble, some cherry pie crumble. And I am also just going to say this. This was the first thing that I consumed when I came back to smoking, was isolate, CBD isolate. I got high as balls off of CBD isolate. So anyone that tells you that you cannot get high off of CBD is wrong. If you have a very, very, very low tolerance, and there is even, 1 or 2% THC in something, you feel it. Trust me. So I personally will say you do get a little bit of like a high off of CBD products. At least that's my personal experience. So we got ourselves actually a pretty nice size dab of this straw nana. So this stuff it's truly much more flavorful than a lot of the CBD shatters and stuff that I've had. A lot of the CBD shatters I've found tend to be really, really, really full of even sometimes non-cannabis derived terpenes. And when CBD shatter or any CBD product has any product has non-cannabis derived terpenes in them or excess added terpenes, it tends to make the throat hit itself or the hit a lot more harsh. So that's just been like a consistent problem with me and a lot of CBD products, even just cannabis products across the board. Adding non-cannabis derived terpenes makes the throat hit harsher, it makes the hit less enjoyable. I've found plain Jane though, there may be some kind of cannabis derived or non-cannabis derived terpenes added to this, but it's not so harsh that it's not enjoyable to smoke. So, cheers friends. Big ol' glob. So there's that cherry flavor that I know so well. Cherry cough syrup, almost like cherry Robitussin. But at the same time, earthy and very sweet. So, yet again, not so harsh on your throat that you're dying, that it's making you cough a ton. So I personally find that the Shatter and the Crumble both tend to be a lot less harsh than THC extract. So you could take a pretty big dab of this, flex for the gram if you really want to, and it's not going to make you cough your lungs out and feel like you can't breathe. I'm not saying take big dabs. That's actually like the thing that I am advocating least, but it's possible. You saw I took probably like a 0.05 there. Wait, 0.005, not a half gram. No, 0.05 is right. A half of 0.1. Math, okay, yep. So, as I've said, I've consumed no THC today. Just these 2 hits. I'm clearly feeling something, because I can't even do math. So, the effects of CBD are not as apparent as THC, but you definitely do feel an effect. I feel a little bit goofy. I feel a little bit silly. I'm a little bit like loose mentally. At the first hit, like I said, I was still cognitively there. I was still focused. After the second one, I'm getting a little looser. So after a couple hits of CBD, you know, it'll put you right to bed if you're someone who struggles with sleep. If you have pain, it'll start to melt that pain away hit by hit. It's not going to take it away entirely, but your mind's just not going to be focused on the pain. That's kind of what cannabis does in regards to pain. It doesn't necessarily block the nerve receptors like an opiate does, but it's going to kind of get your mind off of the pain. It's going to focus your mind elsewhere, and you're going to feel the pain less. That being said, we have a couple more things in here that I am going to get to before I start just rambling my brain away. So the first thing we have is these Twax joints. The Twax joints come in a pack of 3. They're raw cones that are keef infused. So on the outside, what I'm assuming they did is put some kind of shatter on the actual outside of the raw cones, and then they just rolled them in CBD keef. So the Twax joints themselves are testing at 35% CBD. I will say these are a little bit harsh. That's my experience with them. And I will also say I probably would smoke these outside, as these are very, very strong smelling. They do smell quite a bit like weed. They smell like hemp, but hemp when it burns smells like weed. So these are strong. They're strong. They're very flavorful. I enjoyed the flavor on them, and the effect was very, very strong. So if you want to get a Twax joint that once the whole pandemic is over, you can pass around with a few friends, those are nice, but this is the better option in my opinion. So this is a hemp blunt. What it basically is a hemp cannagar. So it is a cannabis leaf. If I can actually get the tube out of the box, the hardest part. They've child-proofed it. They've adult-proofed it. You know, the video is already being filmed. I can just rip it. We're here. It's happening. Okay, so it's a cannagar. It's a cannabis leaf that is rolled in keef. I'm assuming yet again there's extract on the outside to actually get it to stick. And I would say this thing's gonna burn for a significant amount of time. I find cannagars usually burn anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how tightly they were packed. So this is something you could just sit and pass around with a few friends once this pandemic is over, or once you trust your circle. And it's gonna last forever. Super strong, super flavorful yet again. Really cool for like parties or weddings or shit like that. I love cannagars. So there was gummies that came with this. I'll put them on the screen right now. They were really tasty gummies. They were shaped as little bees. Not bees as the like insect, but literally shaped as like the letter B. And I ate all of them. I've had this box for a couple weeks. I haven't smoked through. I smoked through quite a bit of the Shatter, smoked through some of the flower, and I ate all the gummies because they were delicious. So in each setting, I probably ate, I believe they were 25 milligram portions, and I would probably eat about 4 or 5 every time I would eat them. just because they tasted good, they legitimately tasted delicious. You couldn't taste any weed in them, so I just sat there and fucking popped one after another. They didn't make me like super ridiculously high. They did make me very calm. I did get really good night's sleep every single night that I ate them. So I love those. And the last few things we do have in the box are all Delta 8 goodies. So we have ourselves a Pineapple Express Delta 8 cart. So really quickly, I'm going to actually get my fancy little hipster pipe battery and take a rip of this. So I'm going to be doing a full episode specifically devoted to Delta 8, as a lot of people have been requesting it, and I finally have some Delta 8 products in my hands. Delta 8 is kind of a new to the scene thing that I'm actually pretty stoked to do a full video on. So let's quickly take a quick rip and get on. Whew. Super, super tasty. Right off the rip, it's Pineapple Express, and it has a very, very almost lemony taste to it, actually. Tastes like that one's like high in terpenoline or something like that. Very unique flavor. But that's going to be awesome to actually try out. We got some Delta 8 gummies that I have a gummy problem, guys. That's the answer here. I've eaten all of these mostly for science. The owner of the company was like, when you try these, they're going to be strong. Maybe if you have a low tolerance, have someone else try them. I built up a tolerance a little bit. I tried them in a couple different doses. I have a report, but I'm not going to report on them now. That is for a video specifically. And the last thing they sent is a Delta 8 joint. So, lots of Delta 8 content over the next few weeks. I will have a full video devoted to it. Not the next video, but the video after that. So, there's a fuck ton of content that I'm actually working on. I'm working hard to make sure I can 2, 3, 4 times a week get some content onto this channel, because I have been severely lacking for a significant amount of time. So I definitely hope every single one of you enjoyed this little CBD unboxing. I definitely hope every single one of you are having yourself an absolutely incredible day. If you're having a rough one, I understand. We all have rough days, but we gotta push through them. Keep pushing, keep fighting. Eventually a better day is over the horizon. And as long as we keep building ourselves and growing as humans, we keep progressing. I don't know where my lighter is. I think it's... That was mostly me stalling to find my lighter. Oh, it's around here. Okay, so cheers, friends. Let's get ourselves one more Acid Rock CBD rip, and we'll call this an episode. I really got to work on my camera angles. Like, I want to make sure you can see the actual bong next time I'm taking a rip like that. But stay positive, stay medicated. Peace, friends.